junk journaling friends, this is Lauren with Shabby Chic Sunday, here with an easy craft tutorial for an envelope book. This is the exact same process as my no-sew just glue binding method that I shared a tutorial for, and I'll link that in the description box below. The only difference is that we're using envelopes instead of journal pages. This is a very simple project and it requires only 3 materials to make: envelopes, glue, and cardboard. I am using a cereal box for my cardboard base. So I'll be using the January digital collection, Postcards from Paris by Shabby Art Boutique from the craft room, and I'm also using envelopes from the Sweetest Tea Party and Attic Roses digital collections as well. So to begin, we're going to cut out those envelopes. The Postcards from Paris collection comes with 2 postcard designs in 3 different sizes. I chose the middle side, which fits 2 to 1 page. And along with the sizes provided in the PDF file, you also will have the option to download the postcards as individual files. And then after downloading, you can make them any size you would like, print and fussy cut them, or have your Cricut cut them out for you. I did forget to mention, I printed my envelopes on 65-pound white cardstock that I get from Hobby Lobby. Also, for this book, I should mention, you can make this project using as many envelopes as you would like. I have chosen to do 8 for this tutorial, but you could make it bigger or smaller. These are all the postcards and other ephemera pieces included in the Postcards from Paris kit. I am filling my envelopes with these pieces now before assembling the book, but it really doesn't matter. You could add them all in later. I am just doing it now because I already know which pieces I want to place into my envelopes. So to begin, we are going to take our first 2 envelopes and we want them to lay the same way. So when the book is assembled, all of your envelopes will be neatly stacked on top of each other as shown. We're going to attach them by gluing the flap of the envelope to the back of the next envelope. I am only gluing one thin line so that it will make a hidden pocket once it's glued to the next envelope. This is optional. You could just glue or tape the entire flap down. We are now going to repeat that same step, and I have to say I got into the habit of placing the next envelope on top of the stack I already glued and then flipping them over just to make sure I was gluing them all the same way. I did mess up on this once or twice and Sunday heard some strong language, so this is just an idea to have them stacked on top of each other just to make sure everything is going the same way. So I am just going to continue to repeat the process of adding a strip of glue right to the edge of the flap, then folding it over onto the next envelope's back, and then pressing down. And you're going to repeat that process for as many envelopes as you personally want in your envelope book. So these are the pages of our booklet so far. And after I flip through this, just to make sure everything is the right way, I put these clips on the spine just for a few minutes when I'm done to make sure everything is glued down nice and tight. I'm now going to grab my cereal box to make the front and the back covers. Using the envelopes that we just glued together, I'm going to cut my covers just a few centimeters over so that there's a little extra cover over the pages. I'm tracing the outline of my booklet with a pencil, and I'm using my ruler to make sure I get a straight, clean cut with my X-Acto knife. And then once I have my front cardboard booklet cover, I'm then going to just trace that to make a duplicate. Once the cardboard pieces are cut out, we need to select our papers to cover them. These are the 2 pages I've selected to decorate the inside of my cereal covers, and I'm just tracing the size I need and cutting them to fit the cover. And after both papers have been glued to the cover pieces, we are going to make the spine to attach the covers together. I'm using my envelope stack to see how wide of a spine I will need, and I'm just making my spine out of 65-pound cardstock. I plan to cover this in fabric, which will add extra strength, but if I wasn't going to use fabric, then I would recommend using 110-pound cardstock for the spine. You could alternatively also just use fabric instead of cardstock if you would like a looser spine, and that would be just fine. I know I'm going to adhere a tassel to this, so I want the cardstock for additional support. This piece of fabric serves as additional strength and aesthetic purposes, and it's the last step that we're going to do before adhering the whole book together. So you have two options for gluing in your envelope pages. The first is that you can add glue to the front of your very first envelope page and glue that right down to the front inside cover. Then glue the back flap of your last envelope to the inside of the back cover. Or your other option is to add glue right to the spine. The difference is that you will be able to open your envelope pages much further if you glue the front and back envelopes to the covers instead of the spine. I am choosing to glue my spine right to the spine of my book cover because I am only slipping one small card inside of each envelope, so I know I don't need a lot of wiggle room. I'm now working on decorating the front and back outside covers. I should have done this when I was cutting out papers for the inside covers, but I hadn't chosen my papers yet, which is why I'm doing this step now. And this is what I've chosen for my front cover. I want my front cover to have a more shabby look, so I'm using my sandpaper to lightly lift up the papers to make them more distressed before I glue them down. And I always like to layer different fabrics and lace trims on my cover, so I am starting with the bottom trim first, followed by another piece of white doily, and then I'm going to also add a scrunch piece of muslin to the top of that. After I glued down those layers, I realized I didn't have as many layers as I wanted. So I went back and I added a layer here on the inside front cover, and this will show through on the front. I also decided to add this touch of bling to the front corner, so I added another piece of the pink muslin through the clasp to make it look like it was all attached to begin with. Here I'm just poking a hole through the spine and I'm attaching a small jump ring hoop, which will be for the ribbon tassel. After I string on the ribbon tassel, the final step will be adding this cute little Eiffel Tower to the top of the tassel. And that's it. We now have a completed envelope book with postcards stuffed in the envelopes on the left side and an additional hidden tuck spot on each right side. And if you didn't want to use this as an additional tuck spot on the right side, you could glue an image right over the top of the flap and then it would be completely hidden. So as we wrap up this video, I want to thank you all for joining me today. Sunday has been here too, in case you missed spotting her here or there. And we will see you all in the next video. Take care until then. Bye-bye.